Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is WeatherBrains. 55 episodes, and they said it would never last. This is for August 6th, 2018. We are back on our regular schedule this week. I say we, I had a vacation week last week. Therefore, we recorded last week's show a little early. We got the show in. We have never missed a week. And let's see, 12 years. We started this show in 2006. And here we are in 2018, still going strong. And need to pull up that. See, if you like an organized show, you won't like this. I have not even glanced at the show notes yet, which is pretty lame. But today was catch-up day. Not ketchup like ketchup and mustard, but catch up from the things that you need to do. The RON. Bill, what is the RON?
Well, the RON is the Research Operations Nexus, which is something that they put on at the NWA that you will be doing the WeatherBrains from. And
okay. Yeah, we're going to be live. For those that don't know, let's see, in 3 weeks, we're going to be live in St. Louis.
Meet me in St. Louis.
St. Louis, Missouri, from the National Weather Association annual meeting. By the way, I got into your fancy hotel there, Bill.
Okay.
I saw an email from the NWA when I was in Florida at some point last week, and it said, last chance to get a room. The way I tried to get a room like 3 weeks ago, and there were no rooms, but it said, try again. I tried again, and guess what? I got a room. So I'm staying at the Dewdrop Inn or wherever this thing is. So I'm set and good to go.
When it's one of my hotels.
Oh, really? Well, you're kind of a big deal then. For those that don't know, Bill has a side job. He works in the hotel business. He's kind of a big deal. He has many leather-bound books, and his home smells of rich mahogany. So that's how you know you're a big deal.
I guess I better.
And I got your message. I'll call you tomorrow morning.
Sure. Some sort of.
I've got a hospital executive tour. See, we've all got side jobs. I see. The problem is my side jobs really don't pay that much. But I've got an executive tour tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, and then I've got a crew from, I think, the BBC coming in here. I don't even know what that's about. They're going to shoot an interview here at 1 o'clock tomorrow.
Are they going to play Benny Hill music behind it?
I hope they do. I mean, that's. See, I'm afraid. What's that guy's name that tricks everybody that comes in and does the fake interviews?
No, not him.
You know the guy I'm talking about. He like tricked all these politicians and.
It's embarrassing.
Now, if this guy tries to trick me, I'll eat his eyeballs for breakfast. He's picking on the wrong guy.
That'd be fun.
And then next week, National Public Radio is in here for 3 days.
Favorite channel.
I don't know exactly what usually when they come in for 3 days, it's all video, but this is like just audio. I mean,
you're the big deal, James.
No, I am the least interesting person on this whole show. I mean, they could have picked anybody on this show, and it would be a more interesting story. And they might be down here to mock me. I don't know.
I don't know.
I got ambushed by these people from Vice TV or Vice something. And again, they just say things that aren't right. They said they're going to come down here and do a story about how education, weather education, meteorology in schools, the school programs. They didn't come down here to do that. It was an ambush job. But again, they pick on the wrong guy. It's just I don't pick. Leave me alone. If you're going to ambush somebody, go ambush Brian. Brian, I was very disappointed to hear that you did not get that job today.
I was even more disappointed to not get an interview.
I mean, it's horrible. They
Yes.
picked one of the guys from Seinfeld to be the new Colonel Sanders.
They could have
How
had
this
me for
be?
a lot less money than him, I'm sure.
You could have done it for free.
Yeah, I mean, goodness, yeah, you could swap him out for free chicken. I mean, that's all you need. I mean, I'm just stunned.
Well, it's not that I didn't have a good agent. You really tried.
And I should mention, this is the pre-show. I've been babbling. This is the time of the show where we share boring personal stories, humorous anecdotes, and we say outrageous things. Nate Johnson just sent a note and says he's out tonight.
Yeah,
but he's got a great view.
By the way, James, did you get that cloud picture?
The
yes, yeah. You don't have to say anymore. You don't have to say anymore.
Oh, it's the pre-show. Let's just show it here. Hang on.
Oh,
it's
go
just
right ahead.
It's just the boys. We're not going to say anything tacky. I get pictures.
You
so
hung up
let
there
me-
too.
Do what now?
You froze, and we missed all of what you said.
But let me pull that photograph up here. Martha Hale. What kind of cloud is this?
And she noted she couldn't put it on social media, but she can send it to us.
So, but we'll ask Bill. Bill is. Kim's here. I don't think we should do it now.
I don't
Kim,
think you should do
thank
it
you.
either.
Thank
Just
you for
pretend I'm
showing
not
up.
here. Do whatever you're going to do. Keep going. Keep
No,
going.
God bless you for showing up. You kept us out of trouble.
Dang
It's just-
it.
You know, Kim, how people see things in clouds?
Uh-huh.
Well, this one leaves nothing to the imagination.
Yeah, that sure didn't. Nope. Nope. Well,
Okay.
yep.
He's stuck. Well, he picked a great time to freeze.
Oh boy.
There you go.
Yeah, this was our campaign to get Brian to be the new Colonel Sanders, and they hired the Seinfeld guy. I can't believe that.
They didn't even give me an interview. Gosh.
I would say that was a turkey tower, but that might be tacky.
What?
Did you respond to the question, James? to the lady?
That's a violent updraft.
Kim, I apologize. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I just
Hey, it was there in the
so
clouds
sorry.
for everybody to see.
You know, if you can't laugh, then there's no hope.
You and
Right.
James that are there, please. On that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have work to do here. All right, let me.
Do what I used to be able to do, which was email people. It's very, very disturbing.
But that doesn't work anymore.
Obviously not. I emailed everybody 10 minutes ago, and they can't get in. It works
Oh.
in the test hangout. Doesn't seem to work in the real ones. It seems like you get a test and then that's it. You don't get to do it again that way. It's really weird. Everybody's texting me saying invite me. That's a long time ago. Go in. Right away, James.
So they have all been invited. Oh boy. And here they come.
Hey.
That's fun. I know that boy.
Yep, I'm here.
You know, it's funny on the test, they all three appeared at the same time. It was like just boom. It was really strange. I've never seen anything like it. I can't get anything to work on my computer right, so I don't know.
Hi, Pat.
How you doing, Brian?
I'm hot, ready for fall.
No, it's kind of warm here too. Dewy.
Yeah.
The dew points, it's like 71. So it's really not too bad compared to earlier this month.
I don't know what's going to happen when I see those early fall dew points where we get into the upper 50s. My head will probably explode.
We had it here for a while in July.
Shoot, I was happy a couple of weeks
July was
ago.
bad.
I was happy a couple of weeks ago. We had dew points in the 60s. You shouldn't want to cheer about dew points, and those were mid 60s. They weren't even, low 60s. Oh well. Such is summer.
That's right.
Mhm.
Special thanks to Rick Smith and Kevin Selly for getting their picks of the weekend early.
First time for everything.
No, you do very well. My problem with you, Kevin, is you often send it like on Wednesday, and then by the following Monday, I've forgotten that you sent it.
Well, I'll tell you a trick. I always title the email KevPick.
Well, I usually search for POW, but I'll search for pick in the future.
I'll put KevPick POW. Kim, are you going to be able to tell us about your adventure or no?
Yeah, we want to know about this West Coast trip.
Yeah,
I can tell you a little bit about it. There's some things I probably shouldn't talk about in too much detail, but generally I was invited out by.
Well, wait, don't wait till we start the show now. Wait.
Okay, we'll make that actual show material.
My big question is, did they ply you with expensive gifts?
Gosh, I wish I could really use a new phone. This iPhone has been so glitchy. It reboots itself like every 4 hours or so. And I thought walking in there, well, maybe, no, absolutely not.
Shucks.
Although I do have a really funny story. I can share it with everybody when we talk about it on the show. But they had looked up another behavioral scientist to invite in. It's somebody whose fees were deemed to be just a little bit outside their price range, and I'll talk about that. It's really ridiculous.
Wow.
This is a $1 trillion company.
They've got a company that's got $245 billion in the bank. This guy must be charging a heck of a lot of money.
Oh yeah. How much do you think would be an hourly rate that would be beyond Apple? What would you guess?
Do you know the number?
I do.
Oh, wow. An hourly rate beyond Apple. $3.50.
Mm-hmm.
Go higher than that, like $7.50.
Oh, you broke up. What was it?
Did you just say $750?
I did.
I said $3.50.
Oh, yeah. You aren't remotely in the ballpark. We'll talk about it on the show.
$12.50.
Wow.
Yeah.
Coming on.
Just think so much higher than anything you're talking about. It's insane.
What was your fee?
Smiles and coffee. They gave me coffee. That was good.
That's good.
And
donuts? Donuts or anything?
Yeah, they fed me, and they put me up, in Cupertino, and that was nice. I got to get maternity pictures for free from a friend who works for Apple. So that was pretty awesome. Hey, Rick.
How's it going?
Based on what you've told us, you should have asked for college education for your unborn child.
I know. I really should have. I had no idea before I went out that they'd actually looked at one other potential option and had that kind of a quote. If I'd known, I would have, I don't know. I probably still wouldn't have done anything, but would have been fun to think about at least.
I'll go for nothing if they'll just listen to me and do what I say.
It was good for networking. It was very good for networking.
Did you get to meet Mr. Cook?
I did not, but I did see the room. I saw the room where the announcements are made. The room. Yeah. It's pretty awesome.
Cool.
And that's their new place, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That new place just looks awesome. The pictures I've seen.
Yeah. It was really, really neat. The whole campus was really cool. And, they have things like just ridiculous things like trees that they grow inside and, these big open spaces where people can collaborate and just think and be together and, but it's indoors. So it's a little bit nicer than California already is. Yeah, it's insane. It's what you'd think.
Hearing a lot about that was the theory behind the circle and the big open spaces, is that Jobs, wanted people to run into each other and to be able to cross paths and sit together instead of being in offices and stuff like that, which is a great.
Yeah, it's for people, especially who work in that industry, you have to create spaces where that will happen. You have to create means for that to happen, or it really won't. I mean, I know in the Weather Center, even we have our own challenges. There are hundreds of us in that building, and we might not see each other unless we try for it, unless you find yourself hanging out in some of like the atrium, or the cafeteria and other places you can just randomly run into people. And they designed that building to be big and open. It's tough. It is a tough challenge.
So welcome to our television viewers that are watching on the TV side. We're about to crank up the show here in a second. Okay, so let me try another invitation here. We'll get the show started in a matter of moments. You're trying to get all of our guests here. Bill, we're missing 2, right?
Yes, it's this new problem where we have a successful hangout, then people sometimes get when you invite them again. When you invite them, it says no invites, and then when I invite them via email, it says that it sends them to a help page. This is happening repeatedly.
Yeah, Ellen had trouble. I had no trouble with her on the test, and she had trouble. It got there and it just froze up. She eventually had to get on her phone, and whoever I invited before that. And we're gonna have a problem here in a couple of weeks because we're gonna have Dr. Bodine from Radar, from what's the radar place next door, Kim, whatever it's called. But he's going to be joining us
The real
from Japan. He's going to be in Japan.
Wow,
That'll be a first.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like if you have a successful hangout, you're doomed on the real show. Because like Pat can attest, we had a perfect hangout with all 3 individuals. Greg fixed his sound.
Well, clearly it's James is the problem.
Yeah. No, we've had some anomalies with it. We've been trying to use it in the morning for television, and we've had a few anomalies, and we're going to go back to Skype tomorrow. So I don't know.
This has become a week problem. If we have a successful test hangout on the day.
And Bill, your bandwidth seems low, or maybe it's me, but
Get a word from you, and it just fades away.
Who, me?
Bill.
Yeah, Bill, your bandwidth seems very constrained. He's over there playing. He's watching Night Call Nurses on Netflix.
Terrible, muffled, and everything.
Yeah, well, he just hung up on us. We got mad at somebody. Kevin, he's mad at you.
He said try and jump in again, see if it helped. Yeah,
but we noticed on the television side when we use it in the morning, it just, and again, I've got gigabit fiber at my house. Here, I don't have nearly the bandwidth at the TV station as I do at my house, and even with that, it just seems like the video quality is not that good, and there's just some issues. So, and Skype's got its own set of circumstances that are strange, but I guess you get what you pay for. This stuff's all free, so we can't be griping. It is what it is. So in a matter of moments, we'll start the show once Bill comes back, and we're still missing 2 of our guests. It must be Monday. Wait a minute. We do this show every Monday. Every show's on a Monday here. So
mostly.
Well, mostly.
Except the ones that aren't.
Exactly.
Aubrey says she might be out.
Ooh, yeah.
She's got some stationary storms.
Stationary storms.
Those are the worst kind.
Yeah.
Is that where there's paper falling from the sky?
That's the ones.
Is that okay?
That's exactly.
Envelopes,
and I'm just wondering,
large sheets of
how do you
paper.
clean that up?
I don't know.
Right? It's
Rick,
just
where are you tonight?
I am in my house and just in a different spot, having to dog sit tonight. My wife's out of town, so goodness only knows what's going to happen. So if I disappear,
Oh, yeah.
a large boxer dragged me away or something.
Barking up the wrong tree.
Oh,
Exactly.
Show is going to the dogs. I love it. No, I thought you had a whole new set back there. It's it looks good.
Yeah, that's it. It's a brand new set.
New set just for the show here.
Just for Pat Spoden tonight.
there you go.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
So I guess we need to. We'll wait another. It's 37 now. We never start on time. We're 7 minutes late. We'll give it another minute to see if Bill comes back. If Bill doesn't come back, we're going to make Kevin be the lead interview guy.
I have to do my Fox show today.
there
Here
you
he
go.
comes. Bill, talk to us. Let's see if we got you now.
About that after a full reboot. Is that better?
I think so.
Looks better, but you haven't talked much.
How about now?
Talk, man. Say talk.
1, 2, 3, talking. 1, 2, 3, testing, testing.
Sounds very weak and thin.
I must just have bad bandwidth then,
No,
because
that's
I have
really
no
good,
children
like that.
here tonight.
Better. I think you're just kind of mumbling or something.
No, I'm like yelling.
Speak loudly.
I sound like Pat Spoden.
What?
All right, let's get this thing started here. I've invited everybody multiple times. I don't know what else to do,
Right.
but we got to get started because the time has come. So I'm going to record track 1 and track 2, and here we go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is WeatherBrains episode number 655, the weekly show that's all about weather. This is for August 6th, 2018. Thanks a lot for joining us. We are back on schedule after a little vacation week last week, so we got a pretty good part of the crew here. Nate Johnson sent a note, says he's out tonight, but he's got a great view. He's apparently in an airplane, showing a nice, looks like a cumulonimbus tower off in the distance out his window. Aubrey has some thunderstorm issues, but I think the rest of the gang is here. Kevin, do you have any thunderstorm issues, or is your problem heat?
Problem is heat and lack of thunderstorms. We really need them. We're running better than 4.5 inches below average on the year. And we have starting not tomorrow, but Wednesday, a little better chance for some much needed rain across the area. Speaking of thunderstorms, I came across this fascinating stat that I thought I would share early. Jacob Wyckoff posted this and I retweeted it, but I thought it was really just kind of interesting. Rick and Kim will appreciate it, being Oklahomans. He posted a note that said all of New England in 2018, 6 states in New England, they have had 12 tornadoes. And in all of Oklahoma in 2018, they have had 12 tornadoes. Isn't that fascinating?
Wow.
Wow, what a year,
What does it mean?
Yeah. What's
That's just is the world ending?
New England, the new tornado capital of the world?
They can have them. I'm not going to complain at all.
We got you beat. We're in the 20s. Easy.
Wow.
Yeah, I thought that was special. The new
That's pretty good.
New England, it's New Tornado Alley.
Yeah, so they had one Saturday morning, I think, as I recall. But yeah, there've been a lot of tornado warnings and crazy stuff up there. So Rick Smith, you are in Norman. You're gonna see a little cool down here, aren't you? You got some cooler air or temperatures coming down.
So, yeah. Same system that Kevin was talking about. We're looking forward to some increased rain chances starting tomorrow night into Wednesday and Thursday, and may not get into the 90s the rest of the week, and that is perfectly fine with me.
Yeah, this is climatologically the hottest part of the summer, Brian Peters, and where we are down here in the deep south, I think we'll see highs in the 80s later this week. We'll take that.
I'll take it. It doesn't take much to make me happy. If you can just trim off about 4 or 5 degrees off of those highs to where that first number is not a 9 or a 10.
Yeah. And by the way, for those that are asking, we're trying to get Mike Trout on the show. So if anybody knows Mr. Trout, tell him he's a weather weenie. We know that. Weather fanatic, loves weather. He probably listens to the show. So, Mike, if you're listening to the show, maybe you're traveling to your next destination where you'll be playing next. We want you on the show when the season's over. So come November, December, we're going to make that happen. And he is an absolute weather fanatic as well as a tremendous baseball player. So, Kim, let's talk about your trip to California. I can't wait to hear about this.
Yeah, talk about the world of random happenings. So it turns out that a bunch of my storm chasing friends, a lot of them are engineers because they're my friends from undergrad. I went to an engineering school, Purdue, and one of them went on to work in Silicon Valley, and he met and married a woman who works for Apple. She's a video applications developer and has worked there for something like 14 years now. And she recently moved to a new group where they are creating different kinds of applications based on the Apple Watch, especially for health. And so they're kind of dipping their toe into warning systems for risk. And all of these folks they're medical practitioners, they're engineers, they're developers, and they were talking internally among the team about some of the interesting things that they've started to notice about human behavior with these notification systems. And so they wanted somebody to come in and discuss risk communication and warning response. And my friend Anne said, I happen to know a guy who could really give you some great information about the field as a whole and also teach you a little bit about a related discipline. And so they brought me in for something that they call internally this sort of bicycle of the mind seminar series, where they bring in people who are a little bit tangential to the main focus of what they do, but who can expand their thinking about what it is that they're developing. So it was really neat, this wonderful opportunity. I got to have private meetings with a bunch of different groups with doctors, then developers, and so on, and then give an hour-long seminar. And they were so attentive and wonderful. And it was just the kind of, mental space that you would imagine that folks working at Apple would be in. It was really, really great. But it turned out, they had explored one other option for bringing in a behavioral scientist who worked in risk decision sciences. And that was Richard Thaler, who is a Nobel laureate. Mm-hmm. And they told me, though, that he was too expensive. When they priced him, his hourly rate was insane. And before the show started, I polled at least some of you folks. I think the highest you guys guessed was $1,500 an hour. Is that right?
Okay. 50, and I said 350.
Mm-hmm. Those are the initial starting. Yeah, the starting bids were in the hundreds, and then we got ourselves up to the thousands. So his per hour rate for coming out, his handlers said that he'd love to come out. He has handlers. Guess that when you're a Nobel laureate, you get those things. And he said, I'd be happy to come out to Apple for $150,000 an hour.
Oh, please. Oh, brother. Give me a break.
So instead of Richard Thaler, they got me.
So what was your fee, Kim? Just out of curiosity, was it in that ballpark?
Yeah, they paid for my travel and they gave me food, which was really nice. And
did you get a new phone? That's the big question. I mean, how about a cool Apple Watch? Did you get one of these? I mean,
right? anyone who's watching from Apple, if you wouldn't mind, I really could use a new iPhone. This one has restarted 4 times today. So I was kind of hopeful they'd have parting gifts, but it turns out that the office spaces are very much like any other office, and they weren't authorized to do anything like that. So it was pretty great.
They don't know who you are. I mean, come on, Tim Cook. from Robertsdale, Alabama. Tim,
Yes.
come on, give the lady a phone. I mean, she needs a phone. I mean, maybe they're waiting, Kim, until their September announcement of the new iPhone series. I think that's what that is. So,
That's what
yeah.
it is. That they're just going to
Exactly.
wait to give me the newest phone. That's
right. They don't
probably
want you to get an old 8 or one of these 10s like Brian has. They want you to have the brand new one that's going to be coming out in 1 month. So that apparently is the deal. Now that is very interesting. I would love to see where this goes. I mean, where do you think it's going from here after they take this information that you presented to them?
I think it's wonderful. It's just like talking with folks in our field. They're trying to grapple with what really are the behavioral responses that they're hoping to achieve. And what is good in health is just as ambiguous as what is good in responding to weather warnings. We're both dealing with, in some cases, end of life issues and, certainly near death issues. And in those cases, who can really judge what people do sometimes to be correct or incorrect? So I think that it just helped them to hear that there are other fields that are thinking about the same kinds of things, and they were so interested in learning more about the science and just trying to incorporate little pieces of insight into how we've been trying to approach warnings and informing decision making, and not so much making choices for people, but really trying to help people to make choices for themselves was a surprisingly profound insight for them. And so I was really excited to work with them. I think that it could help make for some technology advances that are really friendly to the choices people want to make.
Oh, that's fascinating, because here you are, all these tech companies are coming forward, and the next operating system from Apple will have these features. They're saying, you know what? Maybe we are doing too many notifications. Maybe we are spending too much time on our phones. And yet at the same time, they're trying to maximize their ability to get you to respond something. Is that fair?
They want you to be responsive. Yes. I think the particular kinds of applications that they're looking at here are, I can't, again, talk too much about the technologies. They'll be public soon, I think. But they're doing some really cool things that are there's services being added that people will seek out.
Mm-hmm.
And they're integrating different kinds of systems in neat ways to help provide decision aids. So it'll be a little bit different.
What were the top 2 or 3 questions that you got in return from them?
Oh, goodness. They actually were so interested in the weather. And one of the things that I asked was, I asked the audience, I always love polling an audience before I speak to them, so I know sort of the baseline. And with Silicon Valley, I had a feeling a lot of people were from the coasts. So I asked them, how many of you have been are from a place where tornadoes was a part of the landscape, or from the middle of the country? And less than half of the audience raised their hand. So I knew immediately, this is a group of people who don't necessarily know what tornadoes mean to the cultures of the middle of the country. And so I took some time and explained to them what can happen, how it works, the bevy of severe hazards, and how we alert for them, and what the communication infrastructure is like. They had a lot of questions about that. They had a lot of questions about communicating uncertainty and trying to communicate with credibility in a crowded media space. All the kinds of things that we are challenged by, they were also very interested in discussing, because they're also confronted by those issues.
I think it's fascinating. I can also envision Kim walking in there and saying, "Nice to meet you, Mr. Cook. Can you fix my glitchy iPhone?"
Exactly. All right, Bill Murray, bring our guest in before they hang up on us.
Yeah, 3 weeks from tonight, we'll be at the National Weather Association annual meeting in St. Louis. And so we've invited some very important guests tonight. We can't get one of them here, unfortunately. But I'll start off by introducing Janice Bunting, who's the executive director of the National Weather Association. Janice, you grabbed dinner, you went back to the office, I guess, and you joined us, huh?
Well, I got dinner, but I stayed at home. So we'll hope the dog stays quiet.
And are ready to talk, huh?
Yes.
We're glad to have you with us. We want to hear a little bit about some of the special things that are going on at this year's annual meeting and answer some questions for folks who might be making last minute plans. Somehow you got James Spann in the block there over the weekend, so he was happy.
Very good. Yes,
I got a room. I got an email that said, get a room last day. And I got a room. So it worked.
Excellent. Well, the hotel has been very gracious. They have extended our room block until the 10th of August, but their rooms are getting tight there. I'll say that. But we got the travel approval from the government today. So that's our last piece of the puzzle that now we are go and have over 300 people registered and expecting somewhere between 500 and 600 people. And it's going to be an action-packed week. We have a lot of events that are going on, other events that wanted to happen. We're trying to pack as much as we can into 5 to 6 days, and still people get maybe a couple hours of sleep every night. But of course, we're going to kick off with the fabulous Weather Ready Fest, and we're really looking forward to that. Bill and his team have been working overtime to make that spectacular. And I don't want to steal his thunder, what's all going on there, so I will just leave it at that. But then we kick.
It's about the Weather Ready Fest, Jan, so I'll answer them for you. How about that?
Well, I was just going to highlight Ginger Z and all the great people we're having with the mascots coming to the event.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a tremendous day, and James is going to have Ginger as his sidekick for the Alley Skywarn program. That's going to be really interesting. Ginger is really excited about that. She's going to be a busy lady that day. She's got 6 stage shows, 3 with James, 3 with Nick Walker, and those with Nick Walker will double as the prize drawing. So everybody that walks into Weather Ready Fest will get a passport. And thanks to our friends at KMOV in St. Louis, they're really doing a fantastic job pumping out there right now. And Mike Murphy, you know that fella, James.
I know that man.
The whole team up there has really gotten behind this, and they've really been pushing it. But everybody that walks in that day will get a passport. This is a beautiful document. It's 28 pages long. It's 5 by 8. Scott Martin on our team here at Alabama WX, he's perfecting it, making it better every year. And it has a passport stamp location for all the exhibitors that are going to be there that day. And that's the gamification part of it. Go around to all the exhibitors, get it stamped, bring it back, redeem it, get door prize ticket things, which is really awesome. But the value of that is that there's about 16 pages of incredible weather safety information. It's every impact, every hazard that affects the St. Louis area. It's been vetted by Jim Seaviking, the Sue at the National Weather Service. Am I saying WCM or Sue? Pat Spoden, we haven't introduced you. And so you probably can answer that question. Is
Jim is the Sue.
The Sue. And we'll talk more about it to you in just a minute when I get through rambling. But he did such a fantastic job helping Scott vet that. It didn't require much change. But it's going to run from 9:30 to 5:30 that day. We're expecting about 7,000 people to come to the St. Louis Science Center. We have 68 volunteers. We have about 12 large vehicles. We have 9 incredible speakers, from Harold Brooks to Jim to a bunch of folks that are going to talk. We've got 2 Skywarn training sessions. We have 3 other stage shows, including the NWA's own Eleanor Villier Talbot will be. She was part of the PBS series Curious George. So those things are oriented toward kids. But there's so many things oriented for adults, children. There's everything relating to mitigation, and it's all free. The only thing you have to do is park. As long as you can park and get to the St. Louis Science Center, the whole event is free. And so, we're taking last-minute exhibitors. You won't make it in the passport because the passport's going to the printer in the morning. But everything else is really fantastic. And the great thing is it's all going to raise money for the National Weather Association Foundation. When all is said and done and the dust clears at the end of the day, all of our wonderful sponsors like Spire and USAA and FedEx and PNC Bank, just to name a few of the great sponsors that are underwriting the event, because this thing is not cheap to put on. 6,000 passports and rent. We do have to pay for parts of the facility. All these wonderful volunteers, are going to show up in these bright yellow shirts that we've, designated them in. Pat will look really good in yellow.
I do. It's one of my colors.
Not a mustard yellow like Brian picked out.
There you go.
It's a bright yellow flashing color that you'll enjoy.
Yeah, I'm one of the hospitality people there, so my job is to make it so that everything goes on without a hitch, right?
Yeah, and Vivian Silva, who is in charge of the volunteers, has done a fantastic job. She just went above and beyond. The program is all in place now. The sponsorship team, for the most part, Kathy Zapatokny was in charge of promotion, and it's just been amazing. And I'm starting to sound like President Trump. It's huge. It's amazing. It's going to be great. You miss. So if you can get over to the St. Louis Science Center on Saturday. So Janice, that was the kickoff. That's a lot of talk about that first event.
Well, it's a very important event, and I always enjoy going to it and talking to a lot of the kids that come, because you start to talk to them, they tell you all they've learned or who they've talked to, and their eyes just light up. And you know that we're helping a lot of people become better at weather educated, and probably sparking a big interest in becoming a meteorologist or a hydrologist or broadcaster in the young generation coming up. So it's always exciting. People come from near and far to attend. So I encourage everybody to attend that, because it is lots of fun. And we appreciate all the work you're doing on that. But the next day we kick off with our usual broadcast meteorology workshop and the student early career professional session. We've got some really good talks scheduled for that, so quite a variety, and some that will cause a little bit of good discussion late in the day on Sunday. So I hope everyone will plan to attend. It's a wonderful networking event for students, especially. They get to go through speed mentoring and get to talk to people from all walks of our weather career options. And we have a dinner so they can continue those conversations. And both the broadcasters and students will get to have their on-air reels critiqued so that they can improve their skills. And there's a few other special events going on that evening. I know St. Louis University is having an alumni event, and Laura Myers is having a special event there as well. And then Monday through Thursday kicks off our general sessions. We had over 300 abstracts submitted, so we're going to have fabulous presentations and oral presentations and poster presentations. So it's going to be a lot of fun, very educational. Monday night, we have our icebreaker, followed by the Ron event, which we will talk about, and WeatherBrains at that event. So we're very excited to continue that again this year. Tuesday night, all sorts of fun. We have our AMRO diversity mixer, the baseball game, the St. Louis Cardinals, local chapter mixer, committee chair, dinner, and meeting. And then Wednesday, our awards luncheon. So everybody get out there, register. We are taking names of people who are still looking for hotel rooms. And so we'll look at potential overflow in the next few days to see if that's necessary. But we're trying to fit in people where we can. It's going to be fabulous. I'm really looking forward to seeing everyone again and having a great week. And I hope I caught all the events. I'm sure I missed a few, but we'll be putting more information about those out soon.
Like the one that came to mind for me, Janice, or two maybe, the broadcasters dinner on Monday night. You may have mentioned it and I missed it because I was a little on my bandwidth there for a second. But if you didn't mention that, talk about that for a second. And also the speed mentoring on Sunday.
Okay. Yes, the broadcasters have scheduled their dinner, and I can't remember the restaurant, but it's very close to the hotel, so it's walking distance. And they are scheduling karaoke for the same location. So we have limited seating for that. It's filling up fast, but that's always a great opportunity for them to network and talk some shop, but also connect with all of their friends. So that's a fun event for a lot of our members. And then students, the speed mentoring, which is for students and early career professionals. We set different professionals from all aspects of the weather enterprise at tables, and students rotate through those tables so that they can ask questions, get exposed to different careers. Maybe it's a government career, private sector career, broadcasting, emergency management. We're going to have several emergency managers attending the meeting this year. Communications. We have many of our social scientists, and especially those focused on disaster communications, sitting in on that, and business people too, because there are so many students that are getting into the entrepreneurial world with weather these days. So it's a wonderful opportunity, not just for the students and early career professionals, but for the mentors that sit down. I think both sides find it very beneficial, and it allows those students and early career professionals who may not have been to the meeting before to get to know somebody on Sunday. So the rest of the week, there's a bunch of people they know that they can talk with. And one thing that I found about our NWA members is they're always more than willing to talk to everyone about our careers and their experiences. So I hope no one will be shy, and feel free to go up to anybody and say hi and ask them what they do in this field.
So Janice, it's not too late to register, of course. Tell people how to do that.
It is not, and we will take registration continuously till we get to St. Louis with our new system. They can go to NWAS, November Whiskey Alpha Sam.org, and click on the annual meeting and register. Now, we have our new portal this year, and that's where everybody registers, whether they're a member or not. So they will have to put their email in and information if they're not a member, but that helps us get in the system. And one benefit of that is when the app is ready for release, they will put in the email that they use to register, and they will connect even more information through the app. So we hope everybody becomes a member, because you get discounted rates for registration if you are a member of the NWA.
It's an investment that pays off right there, dollar for dollar, doesn't it, almost, Janice?
Oh, yes. By far, I think most people come away energized. They have new collaborations. Many people connect on jobs through this meeting. That's another plus. And just so you know, if you register today, you can pay at the meeting. So we do have that option for you as well. And we're going to have I forgot to mention the exhibit hall, but we already have 13 exhibitors signed up. Well, actually 14 for the exhibit hall. And that's a great opportunity to learn about some of the companies that support the weather community and have some conversations about improving it.
So can we borrow the NWA Learjet, Janice, to fly Brian Peters up and back?
Man, I would love that. Yeah. If we can find it, I'll be on there with you.
Will that work for you?
Depends on what the weather does while James is away.
So James, are we going to have a tropical storm or hurricane during NWA? Is that what's going to
happen? I hope not. I'll just leave it at that. I hope not.
I think we're close enough in now. We're beginning to see that probably that's not a problem. So, Rick, you wanted to ask Janice something about an event that's going on in Oklahoma.
Yeah, Janice, I saw on Twitter, I think just a couple of days ago, I think it's a really great event. It's a fundraiser for the NWA Foundation, I believe. And we got a lot of Oklahoma City area listeners. So can you talk about the Redbirds event coming up this Friday?
Yes, we're going to have the National Weather Association night at the Oklahoma City Dodgers game in downtown Oklahoma City. It's a great deal. It's a Paint the Park Pink night. It's in honor of those who have fought and survived breast cancer. And the tickets are only $18, and you get a Brahms coupon. There's t-shirts. There's all sorts of fun to be had. And so we're looking forward to connecting with everyone. And I saw your tickets, Rick. Thank you. And $5 of every ticket does go to support the National Weather Association Foundation, which supports scholarships for students in meteorology and related fields, and grants for teachers K through 12. And we picked this day because, all of our beloved past president, Liz Quitone, lost her battle to breast cancer. And so we thought it'd be a way to honor her and still have some fun and raise some money for the scholarships that she was so passionate about. So I need to get that link on front and page and center on the web page. But if you go to Group Maddox for the Oklahoma City Dodgers and you type in national weather as one word, then you can reserve your ticket.
And when is that going to be, Janice?
That is this Friday. It's like a 7:05, 7:15. I want to say kickoff, but that's not right. First pitch.
First pitch.
And the weather
Close
should
enough.
be pretty nice. So it should, high of 89 that day. Should be good baseball weather. And I said Redbirds because the Oklahoma City Dodgers are playing the Memphis Redbirds, my hometown. So anyway, I got mixed up. But anyway, yeah, we're excited about it. I'll be there.
Good. I'm looking forward to it.
So, Janice, talk about the importance of the foundation and its work now, because it's relatively new, 2 years old now. And talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, the foundation is really still kind of a baby. We formed it at the annual meeting in 2016. And the NWA always provided some scholarships, and then Saul Hirsch, our former executive director, started the K through 12 grants for teachers to encourage meteorology and weather education in schools. But because the NWA was a 501c6, we felt, after talking to many people, that we could raise more money if we started a C3 charitable foundation. So that's what we've done. So donations to the foundation are tax deductible if you meet those requirements. And that helps us raise more funds to support more scholarships down the road. And we have one scholarship that is in really good shape, thanks to Dr. Bob Glon. And that one is offered every year. And we have 7 or 8 scholarships that we offer. We just offered a brand new one, the David Freeman NWA Past Presidents Fund, to honor all of our NWA past presidents. That will help send a student to the NWA annual meeting this year. So those applications are being reviewed. We're trying to get those done very quickly. And the K through 12 grants are fabulous because many of these teachers don't have the funds to support weather education in their schools any longer. And so this enables them to have weather equipment, which helps students not only learn about weather, but math and other scientific aspects like research and things like that. So there's many fun parts of the job, but it's always fun talking to the scholarship recipients and the grant recipients. And so our goal is to raise even more money so that we can have bigger and more scholarships down the road, and grants too. And then Weather Ready Fest, it supports that.
Yeah, it's gonna. I think it's gonna continue just to build momentum, and it's not too early to start thinking about next year for Weather Ready Fest. I tell you, even though we don't know the city yet, we will know soon. And when we do, I hope. We seem to have cracked the code on volunteers. It's important to start early on exhibitors. It was really nice this year because it was easier for us to raise the money to do it. But it still takes a lot of effort, a lot of work to do this. It's almost a full-time job now, and we do not have any full-time paid people on the foundation, to do this sort of thing. So please consider helping next year because it is extremely gratifying work, and it is rewarding when you stand in the middle of this hubbub. James is going to find out. He's going to be the man in the Swami hat this year, Brian. Not you.
All right.
I look really good in a hat. I'll just leave it at that. Any hat works. Anything's better than this.
Bring your cootie spray just in case.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Disinfectant. Yes.
In this hat, and none of them had cooties, Brian.
Hey, James, are you going to sing with Nick Walker on stage?
That would chase everybody out of the area, and you're trying to get them to come into the area, so that would not work. No.
Come on. There'll be a captive audience. They'll lock them in.
Lock the doors. You are my sunshine. No, that's not happening.
Perfect.
Yeah. Pretty good, I think. So Janice, you're welcome to stay with us. I know you're really busy right now, and you might need to break away. If you do, that's great. Is there anything else you want to add or share? And again, you're welcome to stay, but I know your time is at a premium right now.
I'll stay a little bit longer. I want to hear a little bit more about the Ron, but we have lots of fabulous volunteers and people are putting together great programs. So I hope everybody can attend in St. Louis, and it's a great venue, and I think it's going to be a fabulous time.
It really is. It's a great city. It's a fun place, and we'll have some burn-ins before it's over with that week for somewhere in St. Louis. So Pat Spoden, Pat,
How you doing today?
I put you over there on the shelf, but we didn't forget about you. Science and Operations Officer at the National Weather Service in Paducah, Pat. And you're a counselor in the NWA, right? And
I was.
What are you?
I'm commissioner of committees. I'm the commish.
Not, I guess those are not the same thing. So yeah, commissioner of committees, very important job, tough job, and it's sort of like herding cats at times. But you seem to do it really, really well. Lots of good delegation.
They haven't fired me yet.
You can find somebody to fill that job.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, we invited Greg Stump and you tonight to talk about the Ron. First, what's Ron?
Well, the Ron is it's dedicated to the memory of Ron Presbolinsky, who lost his life to cancer a few years ago. He was a Science Operations Officer at the National Weather Service in St. Louis, the first one there. And Ron was many things. He was a great person, a great guy, a fabulous researcher, and loved to write papers. And in fact, I have trivia on this later, so I'm going to try and stump the panel. But one of the things that he really liked to do was work with the researchers, him being an operational forecaster and, working the radar, working the warnings and stuff. But he always liked to bring in the researchers and say, we need to work on this. This is an area that we're just, you guys aren't paying attention to, and we need help. And that's really what the Ron's about, is can we make that connection between the operational folks and the research folks, and can we get them to work together and synergize and to try and, just can we put together good projects where we can work together and, to try and help each other. Sometimes I hear from researchers, well, we go to conferences and we hear about all the good things. We don't really hear about what things do you need, to do your operations better. Well, this is a great place to do that, because I'll be glad to tell you all the problems I have, and some of them are weather, not all of them. But anyway, I'll talk about the weather ones to them. And it's a great way to sit down and just talk about it. It's kind of a speed mentoring. There's timetables where you can go and sit at different tables and have different subjects. And there's a little moderator or facilitator at each table who's going to be taking notes and trying to find out how we can work together. And as you go around, you'll often find that, hey, the guy over at this table, they're talking about, some social science project, and over here, a young lady's maybe studying that in school. How can we get them together? And that's really what the Ron's all about.
How do the researchers and the meteorologists sign up to be part of it?
Well, I believe they can do that on the website, but otherwise, part of the registration is to be part of the Ron. Maybe Janice can fill us in a little bit on that.
We are working on an updated event site that we will send out to everybody, but people can sign up for the Ron through their registration.
So even if you've already registered and you haven't, Janice, can they do that when they come to get their credentials?
Yeah, they could do that, and we're going to send an event form out to everybody because we have more information. A lot of events are finalized to collect more counts on different things that are going on. So for those who've already registered or after you register, we'll send that out to you.
So will there be alcohol provided, Pat? Seems like
I don't think so.
Well, it will occur in the same location as the icebreaker. And so people will be at the icebreaker, which will include cash bar, food. Greg Carbon's going to give a shortened version of his talk, and then so people can take, they're right there. They can get things before the Ron event.
I stand corrected.
So there will be peripheral alcohol.
Yeah.
But people have come out of this just in the short period of time that you've been doing it.
It's hard to document how many connections we've made, but I do know of some. And it's just since the NWA is, a lot of operations, we're really struggling, but we're trying hard to bring in more researchers. So that's where I'm looking at Kim to help us quite a bit. Greg, of course, is in that area, and so the more research we can have, the better connections we can get.
So Kim, I wish like anything that you could be there this year. It would be wonderful to have you there.
I know, it would be wonderful to go, and I actually got to go to my first Ron last year, and it was a wonderful experience. I think having this platform to just mix and meet is where it all begins, and I'm so excited to get to do it again. I'm sad to miss you all this year, and I just got an email today actually about Laura Meyer's event too. Looks like she'll be talking about consistency in communication. Really hot topic right now, but that may actually be, we'll see if Child will be here at that point. So unfortunately have to miss. I'll be thinking of you all though.
So James will be broadcasting live from the Ron that night. So you got your soundboard and you're ready to be part of this big event?
Yes, I've got the soundboard. The foghorn is ready. And the buzzer is ready. So we're ready.
We have to be quiet over in the corner. We can't be too loud with the foghorn that night because we can't drown out. It's great work that's being done.
Is he going to sing? You going to sing that night if you don't sing Saturday? No.
Okay. That's a buzzer. No.
We will talk to so many folks that night. Rick, will you get to be part of the Ron that night? Rick is muted.
Sadly, no. I won't be able to attend this year. But yeah, I was just sitting here looking for a picture. I got a picture that we took last year. I have to find it. No, never mind. We had a lot of fun last year at the Ron. We had a table over in the corner, and Brian had set all the broadcast studio up so well. So it was a lot of fun, but I hate to miss it.
We will be sad not to have you there. That's for sure. So Pat, you were going to try to stump the band here with some Ron trivia.
Yeah. So I can throw a couple softballs at you first. How many of you knew Ron personally? Raise your hand. Okay, 1, 2, a few. You know him, didn't you, Bill?
No, unfortunately, I knew him, of course.
Okay, well then this might be a little harder than I thought. But for those of you who know Ron, true or false, Ron was a stickler for being on time.
Brian Peters.
Anyone can answer. Yeah.
False.
Very good. Yes. Ron had his own time. We called it Ron time. And he arrived. If you ever watch The Lord of the Rings, he said, wizards are never late. They always arrive exactly when they want to and are planned to. And that was Ron. He was always doing that. So you just when you planned your day, that was one of the things that you tried to do was make an account that he's going to be there. Okay. An easy one. What university did Ron receive his degrees? Meteorology and his master's. Come on.
I'll guess SLU.
Where's the conference going to be?
Yes, SLU.
St. Louis.
There you go. Good job. Okay. I'm going to have to make them even easier next time. Okay. What type of storms did Ron become famous for?
ULCSs.
Presbolinskis. Bow echoes. You're right.
Very good.
Okay. True or false? Ron was involved in publishing over 50 papers, both formal and informal. True or false?
True.
It is true.
I think it's true.
It is true. Yeah. He had
He was
15
very
where he was the
prolific.
lead author. Yeah. It's phenomenal. Phenomenal writer. Okay. In what year did Ron win the NWA, the Theater for Jita Operation Award? What year was that?
Janice may have to answer that.
Janice, yeah, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. Oh,
She went away.
2003. 2003. Okay. Ron's favorite football player. Anybody know that one?
Eric Dickerson.
No. He played in a very cold climate. He was a scrambler. He's a quarterback.
Brett Favre.
Yes, you go. Brett Favre. Okay, Janice is back now.
I hit the wrong button.
We all do. We all do. Let's see. How long was Ron's career with the National Weather Service? Is it 30, 35, or 40 years?
I don't know that I ever knew a 40-year person. I'll say 35.
That's what I'll guess.
Okay,
I'll say 35.
You're correct. 35. 35.
Your national
All
Weather
right.
Service that y'all know of? Rick or Brian? Or Janice?
I knew of him. I didn't know him personally. I think I met him once.
Have you ever known a 40-year veteran of the Weather Service? Has that ever happened?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, and first one that comes to mind is Bob Glahn. I'm guessing he was probably close to 40. I'm not sure, but
My boss, Beverly Poole, just retired just this last weekend with over 40 years in the National Weather Service.
you bet.
Yeah. So a great loss for us, but we're going to try to trudge on anyway. Let's see if I have any. Okay. Who was his favorite baseball team? We're going to be where?
Cardinals.
Cardinals. Okay. That was, yeah. Okay. Let's see. Another easy one. I don't think I have any easy ones left. Oh, pretty tough. His degree. Do you know what his favorite college team was? And it wasn't SLU.
Notre Dame.
That's right.
That was,
How did you know that?
I must have surreptitiously somewhere along the way learned all of it.
Well, Ron was from where?
South Bend.
That's right. He was born in South Bend.
Wow.
So it all worked out. So, okay, the last one for bonus. This is big bonus here. If you can get this one. Okay, Ron having the Polish heritage. Could you name a Polish food that you think Ron enjoyed?
Kielbasa.
That's one. Another dish called pierogies.
Mhm.
Like pierogies a lot. And let's see, what's the other one? Is it kolaches?
Yeah.
Kolaches.
Cheese.
Yeah.
Kolaches? Okay.
Other stuff.
Hot skis.
So maybe we could, Janice, we could get a sponsor next year for the Ron and bring in some of Ron's favorite foods
That would be good. That would be cool.
for pierogies.
Yeah, I would like that. We'll put that on the to-do list.
There you go. So that's really all the questions I have. But Ron was just a wonderful person and all around good guy.
Yeah. So Pat, thank you for that. That's really cool. Anything else you want to add about the Ron, Pat, or anything else you want to throw in?
It's just it's a good experience. You need to come, and you have to be vocal. If there's something that you want to learn about, it's probably going to be there. There's going to be somebody else who's also interested in that. And your goal is to find that person. And the facilitators of the tables will work as hard as they possibly can to make that connection. But, you know, you got to do this. This is all about the NWA is communication. I mean, Janice will back that up. You know, you don't want to go sit in the corner. Of course, we don't want you running around yelling either. But, you know, you have to be forthright and you know, be a little forward, ask people, talk to people. And that's all what networking is all about. And you'll find the right person.
That's exciting. So, James, I'll toss it over to you. I know you might have a question.
Let's take a break here, guys. We're going to pause for a second. We're going to do Professor Peters. We're going to do Tony Rice, and we're going to come back with the weather roundup, the picks of the week, and a whole lot more as WeatherBrains rolls along.
WeatherBrains 101 with Professor Peters.
In this episode of WeatherBrains 101, we're going to begin a 4-part series looking into the operations of aircraft used by NOAA to study and observe tropical weather systems. Now, when you hear the term hurricane hunters, you probably immediately think of the work done by the U.S. Air Force and their 53rd Weather Reconnaissance Squadron out of Keesler Air Force Base in Mississippi. With 10 aircraft in their squadron, they fly into tropical cyclones in the Atlantic Ocean, the Caribbean Sea, the Gulf of Mexico, and the Central Pacific Ocean for the specific purpose of directly measuring weather data in and around these storms. The aircraft used by this squadron are Lockheed WC-130J aircraft. The WC-130J employs a standard 5-person crew, including a pilot, co-pilot, combat systems officer, aerial reconnaissance weather officer, and a weather loadmaster/dropson operator, and a second loadmaster assigned when required. The ARWO, or the Air Reconnaissance Weather Officer, is the flight meteorologist and acts as flight director inside the storm system. While the 53rd Weather Reconnaissance Squadron performs the bulk of tropical weather reconnaissance, NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, also operates several aircraft that participate in unlocking details of hurricanes and tropical storms. Specifically equipped NOAA aircraft play an integral role in hurricane forecasting. Data collected by these high-flying meteorological stations provide forecasters with data to make accurate predictions during a hurricane and help hurricane researchers achieve a better understanding of the storm processes, improving their forecasting models as well. In our next episode, we'll take a look at the NOAA aircraft flying into the storm. If you have a question about the weather, you can drop an email to question@weatherbrains.com.
Looking beyond the atmosphere, here's Tony Rice with your Astronomy Outlook.
We're going to visit a star, our own. The Parker Solar Probe will launch no earlier than Saturday, August 11th at 3:48 a.m. Eastern, during a 45-minute launch window from Space Launch Complex 37 at the Cape Canaveral Air Force Station in Florida. It will launch atop a United Launch Alliance Delta IV Heavy, one of the biggest rockets we've got. Available launch windows extend through August 23rd. The Delta IV Heavy, along with the Northrop Grumman Star 48BV third-stage rocket, are needed to give the spacecraft the energy it needs to safely reach the Sun, more than 55 times that required to get to Mars. Designed and built at the Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Laboratory in Maryland, this mission will revolutionize our understanding of the Sun, flying well within the orbit of Mercury, 7 times closer than any previous spacecraft has. Put that in football terms, if Earth were on one goal line and the Sun on the other, the Parker Solar Probe will make it to the 4-yard line. The closest we got before was with Helios B, and that was to the 29-yard line. Adam Sasbo, mission scientist for the Parker Solar Probe at NASA Goddard, said, "We're trying to decipher what happens near the Sun. The obvious solution is to just go there." The mission will combine those in situ measurements along with remote imaging. Instruments are protected by a heat shield made of carbon-carbon panels around a 4.5-inch layer of lightweight carbon foam. About a gallon of water is then circulated behind the solar arrays to keep them cool and the heat dissipated through radiators. The spacecraft will automatically keep the heat shield pointed towards the Sun at all times. While the business end of that heat shield faces 2,500 degree temperatures, the instruments behind will stay at about 85 degrees. The mission is named for 91-year-old astrophysicist Eugene Parker. known for his theory of the supersonic solar winds and predicting the spiral shape of the magnetic field. First published in the 1950s to skepticism within the scientific community. His theories were verified just a few years later. This is also the first time NASA has named a mission for a living person. That's your Astronomy Outlook. Follow me at RTP Hokie for more spacey stuff like this.
When the weather ball is red, warmer weather is ahead. When the weather ball is white, colder weather is in sight. When the weather ball is green, no change in the weather is foreseen. When colors blink by night or day, precipitation's on the way.
Well, we're doing this on August 6th, 2018, a dog day afternoon. Brian Peters, what was the high at your house today? 93?
96.
96. Okay.
96, yes.
This is the hottest part of the summer, climatologically speaking, where we are down here. But again, we're expecting highs to back down into the 80s.
We did 101.
Ooh,
that's hot.
So what's your average? What's your average high for August 6th?
98.
Okay, 3 above.
Yeah.
Kim?
90 or whatever you had today.
Kim, what was the heat like in Oklahoma City? Norman?
You know, it was in the mid 90s, but it didn't feel too bad because our dew points are in the low 60s. It's gotten a lot nicer here as it's dried out a little bit in the last couple of weeks. Really can't complain. It just was a lovely day.
Isn't that sad to say it's only in the low 60s?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, when it's in the 70s, the world looks really different.
We've been in the upper 50s today, which is a lot better.
How was the weather last week?
We hit 95. Dew point was about 71, 72.
Oh.
It's the lower Ohio Valley, man. It's summer. This is summer. Hair you can wear.
Was complaining about dew points in the upper 70s in Boston. So, was it that way when you were there last week, James?
No, I was in Boston, and it was pretty comfortable. It was very pleasant. I mean, everybody up there was griping about the heat, and it was like 84. I mean, come on, man. The dew point was like 62. I mean, it's hot. It's hot up here. And actually, I think their heat levels are higher this week than when I was there last week. But anyway, it's look, but we are on the downhill side. I saw on television as I was scanning the other night a football game, a National Football League preseason game. Wow. So when footballs begin to fly, you know that fall's got to be getting close at some point here.
No, not that much farther. They're going to be year round pretty soon.
Yeah.
NFL needs another $1 billion a week. That's why they make more games.
Brian, do we have another league down here in our market that's coming in? They're going to play in the spring again. We've had like 18 spring leagues over the last 30 years that they last for 2 years and go away. There's something coming down the pike. But anyway, the bottom line is we're almost to fall. But let's, again, we're at 34 after the hour here. And what we're going to do is do picks. By the way, we should mention the hurricane, I guess, in the Pacific. Hector, which is category 5 tonight? Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think that's right.
In fact, that's my pick of the week is the Central Pacific Hurricane page, which I probably should be looking at right now. Let's see, winds 155, category 5. And it is expected to pass south of the Hawaiian Islands in the next few days.
But a tropical storm watch is in effect there.
Yeah, that would make sense. This is a pretty powerful hurricane, and I think that makes perfect sense. But, at some point they hand off responsibility from the Hurricane Center in Miami to the Central Pacific Hurricane Center, which is in Honolulu, I guess, where they deal with it out there. And now they're monitoring that. That'd be an interesting place to work. Pat, you ever talk to anybody that works out there for the Weather Service in Honolulu?
Yes, I have. It's a very interesting place because you have such a wide variety of weather and such a huge area. I mean, they're forecast for a large part of the Pacific. And bringing up the hurricanes, I saw a tweet today. It's from Pacific Nick Underwood, and he's saying that today is the first hurricane hunting mission with an all-woman flight crew, and that's out of Hawaii.
Wow.
So that's a great,
Cool.
that's a great thing. And he posts a few good pictures, and I didn't think they got back to like 5 o'clock or something tonight. And they talks about how many drop sounds they let go. But you know, it's a very, I'm sure it's a very interesting place out there. In fact, one of the forecasters out there is from Western Kentucky. Robert Ballard has been out there for a long time. So I don't know what he thinks that, you know, Hawaii is better than Western Kentucky when it comes to weather. I don't know. I don't. We're tropical, you know, but we just lack the ocean. Maybe that's it.
Can you get to Honolulu from Paducah? Is there any way to get there? I mean, that's
direct.
Long route.
It's a long way. It's a long way to get anywhere from Paducah.
So let's do, and I guess we should mention the California wildfires continue to burn, and had a colleague send a photograph of a pyrocumulus cloud from the Orange County fire. Shanna, who works out at NBC in Los Angeles, and she says there's no containment at this time. So, you know, once you get one under control, another one breaks out. And this thing in Orange County looks huge. They call it the Holy Fire.
Oh, okay.
No,
I thought it was interesting, James, that the Carr fire, the CARR fire.
Right. That's the one up near Redding, right?
Right.
Up in the northern end of the state. Yeah.
And you know what started that? A flat tire on an 18-wheeler. And it sparked into the brush on the side of the road, and that's what started that fire.
Wow.
Amazing.
You never know, but
we've got a bunch of small ones here that are started by, and one guy, in fact, by chains dragging off of trailers.
Oh.
One guy started 3 of them just on one trek that he was taking, didn't know the chain was dragging from his trailer. It was kind of interesting too. Apparently, they were talking about it on the ag show that we have here, and the poor guy. Apparently, a bunch of people just were like just ready to lock. They were yelling, "Lock this guy up! Lock him up!" And he just made a mistake. He didn't know, so he wasn't like being malicious. But at the same time, those things. But it just seems funny to think that a chain, hanging off a trailer, can jump off to the side of the road and start a fire.
Did you guys see the one night? I forget when it was. I want to say it's maybe a week ago. I was watching one of the local stations, and to me, that's the most interesting part of this is watching how local television there covers these fires. It is a whole different mindset. Everything is different. I'm used to severe local convective storms and tornadoes and tropical storms and hurricanes. This is a whole different mindset to do this, and they've done a superb job. But the station had to evacuate, and I want to say they were in Redding when the fire just got too close, and it was they were being very creative in how they covered that. They were just using phones and anything they could, and it was just a nightmare logistically to handle. But it's been a big mess. But I don't know in this new fire down in Orange County if there are many people in the path of this. Kim, do you know? I'm not that familiar with this location.
I'm not familiar with the new fire either, so I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, but anyway, it looks huge, and they're still dealing with that, and it's that time of the year. But we got to do picks of the week here. This is the time of the show where we go around the table, and everybody shares something that is weather related. And again, I just made my pick, the Central Pacific Hurricane Center page, which is fairly similar to the National Hurricane Center data, but not exactly the same. There's some different structure to it. But again, if you're looking for information on a hurricane like Hector, that's where you will find that out in the Central Pacific. So that'll be my link, and all the links will be up on the website, weatherbrains.com. So Brian Peters, what is your pick of the week?
Well, one of the things we're in, James, is what I consider the lightning season. And unfortunately, in the United States, we've had 15 fatalities so far in 2018. So my pick's going to be the link to those lightning statistics and urge everybody to respect the thunderstorms and the lightning.
You know, it's just an interesting case study to me. I guess I'll chase a rabbit here. I will post a photograph on Facebook, which, as Nate or Tony, I forget, they call it a place of bile and weapons grade ignorance at times. But I will post a photograph on Facebook of a thunderstorm on the Gulf Coast with lightning where people will refuse to go in. And it's amazing the fights that break out in the comments section, just very vicious fighting. And I know we're in a country that's fighting right now, and it's just everybody likes to fight, but there seems to be a fairly large segment of the population that says, leave them alone. If they want to go out there when there's lightning, leave them alone. Don't call them out. Don't show them as a bad example. It's their business. But the problem is that double red flags are often flying. And this is a case where you got rip currents. This is not involving lightning, but rip currents. And when you've got double red flags flying, the beaches are closed. Local governments close the water. You can be on the beach, but you can't be in the water. So you're technically breaking the law. But to me, it's just a social science thing here, because it's just amazing how so many people, and I mean a lot, I'd say probably half the people that are commenting are saying, leave them alone. If they want to go out there and rip currents or lightning, it's their business. It's none of your business. So I'm thinking I'm supposed to be mitigating loss of life
from weather.
They don't want me to. They don't want me to do that. And
look at all the people that have to go out and rescue them.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, I see the rip currents thing is really a different issue from lightning in that regard. The lightning, you're doing that to yourself, and maybe to your family. You should really be thinking about who you're doing that to. But rip currents, there are large numbers of people who sometimes go out to try to rescue folks, and there are people who die in rescue attempts. That's a really bad situation.
Okay, so let me play devil's advocate though. Then if the motivation for going out and taking a picture of light to get James Spann to retweet you to his 250,000 followers, is that sending the right message?
It depends on where you're taking the photograph, I guess. I mean, if you're inside and it's through a window or something, and then it's okay. But if you're outside in the middle of it, no, it's not okay. And that's the other problem I deal with too. People will occasionally send me stunning photographs of weather, but you can tell that they're driving while they're taking that picture, and the picture is so stinking good. And of course, if I pass it on and retweet or post on Instagram or whatever, immediately you're encouraging texting while driving, you moron, and they jump all over me. So that's another dilemma that I have in the social media world. But it's just interesting how so many people think it's none of our business, that people go out during rip currents or thunderstorms and we shouldn't be calling them out and we shouldn't even be talking about it. I don't know, but anyway, that's the strange rabbit I'm chasing here. All right, so Kevin, what you got for us? What's your pick of the week?
It has nothing to do with weather, but we talk colors a lot, best colors for warnings and advisories, and there's a lot of broadcasters listen to this show. So this article is about selecting colors and color scales and things like that.
Ooh, okay. Oddly enough, that's very interesting to me. All right, let's see. Let's go to Pat. Pat, you got a pick for us this week? What's something good? Tell us something good.
Well, I don't really think it's good, but the fires out in California and out west is amazing to me, and of course they're terrible. But there's a lot of how the fire affects weather. The pyrocumulus, the fire NATO. That winds of 140 miles an hour, they estimated. To me, it's fascinating because it's stuff I've never seen, witnessed, and it just sparks a curiosity in me.
Yeah, how is that? How do you consider that as a weather event? I mean, how do you list that in a storm report? That's it's not a tornado. It's not a fire whirl, really. I mean, what is it?
If it connects to the pyrocumulus, depending upon how it forms, which it probably forms like a land spout, I would assume. But I don't know. It's
almost like a dust devil land spout kind of thing instead of a convective thing. That's a very interesting question for somebody that's into that. But how would it go down, Brian? You're a WCN.
Yeah, I have no idea. You know,
you do the storm reports. How would you put that thing down? Is it a tornado, fire whirl, fire devil? What do you call the thing? I mean, it was horrifying.
Yeah, it was.
I mean,
the pictures were as Pat was saying, they're fascinating pictures, but how these fires just create their own environment and change the weather around the fire too is fascinating. I'm always fascinated with that, but I don't know what to call them. There certainly is no path to go look at the damage. it's everything's a crispy critter. So
yeah, you need to have an IMED on who could tell you what they've seen and what they've experienced. There's several. I think there's one out that's been on between floods and fires and stuff. He's been to like 75 different events in his career.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let's say 140. That's getting up what? EF2, EF3?
3.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing.
The firefighters must have a name for it. I have a friend who used to be in charge of the National Association of Fire Chiefs or something like that. I'll have to ping him and ask him what they call it.
I think they call the wind Mariah.
Mariah?
Oh, brother.
James is the only one who caught.
Yeah, no, I'm the only guy that's old enough to know what you're talking about.
That's it.
So Kim, what you tell us something good? What you got for us this week?
Well, I do have a good bit of news. What I chose is an article describing the pick that Trump has now made for the National Science Advisor, the director of the Office of Science and Technology Policy for the president. And it's a meteorologist. It's Dr. Kelvin Drogemeyer, who for years was faculty in meteorology at here at OU, and he's served as the vice president of research for the whole university now for the past several years. And he's distinguished himself in science policy, and he's worked for the National Science Board that oversees NSF. He also has worked as the science advisor to the governor of Oklahoma, and so he's proven that he can cross boundaries. He's just a delightful person, just a wonderful, kind to everyone kind of person who is also very wise and a very good scientist. And it's just exciting. This is the first time that the office hasn't been led by sort of a basic physicist in a long, long time. And meteorology gets its chance to shine in this really important light, in this really important role. So we're very proud for Kelvin and wish him well. We'll miss him very much here, but are very, very excited that he's going to get to do some real good, hopefully, in that position.
Praise for him on social media was just unending when that announcement came. It was the exact opposite of what we saw when Barry or whatever, which Myers was it? Was
Myers.
Mm-hmm.
That was the complete opposite of that. People were so happy and so pleased, and that was my professor, and it just seemed like a warm reception for him.
Yeah, I've not really heard a bad word about Kelvin, and I've gotten to know him a little bit, and he seems to be the perfect person for the job in this environment we're in the country today. And I like you, Kevin, I've not heard of any negatives, which is amazing. I thought he'd be attacked and demonized and all this kind of stuff, but that's really not happened, which I think is a testament to him and all the people that he's influenced in his life, students that were under him at OU. And that is a marvelous. Now we got us an insider up there. And
right.
He seems to be very level-headed, Kim, just level-headed. He can handle conflict and all this stuff that's going to happen. So I think he is a perfect choice for that job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think everything you guys have said is right on. That's and that's what some of the quotes were so interesting from people, the typical science policy crowd in DC. They know him too, and they all said, yeah, I think if anyone can do this, it is Kelvin. And I think that's absolutely right. He has the right combination of patience and kindness and goodness. And it's just going to be really neat to see what he's able to do.
Awesome. All right, Bill Murray, what's your pick of the week? I have a funny feeling I got to hit the soundboard. What you got for us this week?
At the last second, the Washington Post just I have a pick.
Bill's got audio problems. It's just like Bill's in a bathroom in an airport in a urinal. I don't know what's happened tonight. I will not. I'm blowing the foghorn on Bill's audio.
All right.
So lay it on us, man. Lay it on us.
Can you hear me enough to get my pick out?
Yes.
Yeah, talk loud.
Washington Post says the Mendocino complex fire in California now is the largest in the state's history, and somehow we found a way to politicize it. And I'm just amazed at that.
We don't do politics on this show, but that's not surprising. I will post a picture of a sunset. Within 3 or 4 comments, it's all Trump or Obama or, it's come on, guys. What's the matter with you people? This is a sunset. Can we enjoy it? Sit back and breathe a little bit. Get your mind off politics for just a moment, please. But that's just the way it is here. All right, guys, I've got to do a late newscast here. Let's see. Bill, any unfinished business, or are we good?
No, we're good. That's all. Art Faulkner next week. That'll be a great show. Former emergency manager, state of Alabama, public relations consultant now. Will be interesting.
Yeah, we're going to talk about this mobile home stuff where it's good. But the next week is going to be a very interesting show.
Oh, wait. What was the thing? We didn't get to email because Aubrey, but Kim wanted to. What was that, Kim? We saving that?
I don't know. Do we want to save her whole segment for the time when she's here?
Yes.
It just occurred to me that you wanted to say something, but then I realized Aubrey wasn't here, so I don't remember what it was exactly.
It's a question that was posed to the brains by a gentleman from I can't remember where exactly, somewhere in the Midwest, but I think it'd be a really wonderful question to address with everyone.
Well, let's do this. Let's just tackle that one here. So even though Aubrey is not here this week, we'll do a one question segment here.
Letters. We get letters. We get stacks and stacks of letters.
I'm going to turn the floor over to Kim and let you all wrap it up here because I've got to go across the hall to Studio A.
All right.
I found it. You need me to read it or you have it, Kim?
Can you guys hear me okay?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Can't hear me, but.
Okay. Strange. Man, the audio issues continue. If you can hear me, I can't hear you. You all sound like audio chipmunks, but if I'm good, just give me a thumbs up. Okay, wonderful. Then I'll just go ahead. So the question that was posed to us on our email was about tornado climatology and whether businesses and so forth consider previous tornado paths as they go to build whatever it is they want to build. And I think that this is it's actually a pretty common thing to wonder about if there are certain places where tornadoes are more likely to go in a local area and avoid others. And this is something that has come up in my own research on how people perceive risk in local places. So it's influential in how people choose to even respond to tornado watches sometimes. So I think it's important to think about the perspective of, think of a bigger picture. It turns out that we don't have reason to believe that there are very specific local spots down to that kind of a scale where tornadoes are really favored. It's really about the big steering winds of the atmosphere and the broader conditions that produce tornadoes. And there aren't just these very localized little tornado alleys. Although many people believe that they do exist, they actually are just something that our brain puts onto the landscape because we think in terms of places that are important and significant to us. So something to keep in mind is there's not really any way to do that, what the gentleman is asking. If you'd want to avoid building in a tornado-prone area, you'd kind of have to avoid building in the Mid-South, the Midwest, in Oklahoma, the Southern Plains. So the regions broadly have a sort of climatology that you can study, and it's appropriate to look at sort of a broad scale and look over time. A much longer period of time to see how the tracks have laid. And when you do that, you see a lot of randomness, not really particular hotspots, and encourage the audience not to think of it that way. But your town, even if you haven't been hit yet, if there have been tornadoes in your region, then your town is just as likely for it to be you next time. And if you're going to build a business, don't feel unwise if you're building in a tornado path. If a track has gone through some particular area, that's not a particularly bad omen of any kind. It's just kind of what it is. It's sort of life in certain regions of the country.
You said people will place a certain location in their mind with regard to an event or something like that. And I would imagine if that they do that with certain times as well. Oh, a tornado went through this place when I was 12, or it did it in the last year or two, and then that sticks in their mind as opposed to a more climatological explanation. Does that make sense as a question?
Yeah, that's exactly what they do. At least from what I've seen, what people are doing is they're paying attention, I think, remarkably well to the local tornado climatology, but they assign meaning to the very specific places that are hit, instead of thinking of it as, oh, this particular place just belongs within a region where tornadoes happen. And the best example I can point to for this biased assimilation of data in geographies is actually Moore and Norman. Norman, Oklahoma, here, where we have hundreds of meteorologists who live and work, and then Moore, the community just to our north, bordering us, where there have been several large tornadoes, yes, in the last 20 years or so. But there have been several large tornadoes that have hit Norman, too, or that have come, mightily close to Norman. As the crow flies, it's just a matter of 2 or 3 miles that we've been from several F4s, F5s, and that is a matter of chance, man. That is not intent on the part of the storm to go to Moore instead of here. We just got lucky. So I think that's something, and that's that example. From my research, the perception of risk of the population of Norman is about half that of Moore, half,
and
that is just dramatic. So people really do think this way. They assimilate just that exact way you were talking about, Kevin. Very, very localized, but it's really about the region and stuff happening in a region, not so much about individual towns and things like that.
I have had a call at work, though. I have had a call from a business that was relocating into the area, and they wanted to know how many tornadoes have been in this particular county, say, in the past 10 years. So they are paying attention to it. Now, whether that brings them in or drives them away compared to any other county, if they really looked at it, like say, it's a regional thing.
Kim has now angered Chamber of Commerce president for the southern half of the country. That email is kim@weatherbrains.com. I got a show starting. I'll see you guys. Thanks.
Take care.
Take care.
All right, Kim, you're in charge.
Oh, am I? Because Bill, have you abdicated your role of being in charge?
Yes, because the bandwidth is so horrible that no one can hear me.
All right. Well, I think all we need is the benediction, because everyone has given their picks of the week and so on. I think we've discussed all of the items we wanted to talk about. So I'll just thank you very much for coming on the show, Pat. It was really wonderful to see you again after seeing you last year in our test bed. Speaking of research to operations, you've been a key part of sort of the operations to research linkage too. And thank you so much for that.
I enjoy it, and anytime you guys let me into the state, I'll come.
Well, absolutely. It'd be lovely to have you back again. And great. And thank you so much for being on the show tonight.
No problem. Enjoy it.
Wonderful. Well, everybody have a great evening and a great week, and we'll see you back here next time. So long.
Bye.
Bye.
show with Ginger Z. By chance you're in St. Louis, we'll be close to that. Come out and see us. That'll be here in 3 weeks or so. But yeah, we got to turn we're going to simulcast for a minute here on YouTube and Instagram. This is going to be kind of weird. Hello, friends. Let me turn the camera back on. We are now on Instagram and on WeatherBrains on YouTube. Great show tonight. Great to have Pat Spoden with us and Janice Bunting. And great show. And the show title, Itchy Foghorn Finger. But we're going to kill the WeatherBrains live stream. Thank you guys for watching and listening to the show this week. We'll see you all next Monday night. You'll have a marvelous week. Thanks for watching, and God.